Hi there. My name is Amber and I work within the Employee Wellbeing Service in Cwmtach Morgannwg's University Health Board. And today I'll be talking you through our workshop, which looks at our relationship with alcohol. Are we drinking wisely? This course is designed as an awareness course on are we drinking wisely. While we are not experts in alcohol dependency, we do know that alcohol can often be used as a coping mechanism for stress or difficult emotions. This workshop will aim to help you look at your own relationship with alcohol and offer some strategies for making informed choices. You might be viewing this video today to gain some insight to support yourself, or you might be here today to be more aware for future reference for when you have a drink with a friend or a glass of wine at home. Whatever your reasons for being here today, it's important to consider when we talk about our emotional well-being, this can sometimes bring things up for us that feel difficult or upsetting. If this is the case, please feel free to reach out to the Wellbeing Service, where there will be information on how to do this at the end of the video and a link in the description. However, if you feel you need more personalised guidance or support on alcohol, please don't hesitate to reach out to your GP or other relevant support. As you go through the workshop, there will be different points where you can pause the video to reflect on some of the things that we talk about. So you might find it helpful to get a notepad and a pen, or you might even want to use your phone, just something you can use to take some brief notes on if you'd like. At these reflection points, I will encourage you to pause the video and reflect. And there will also be some additional reflection points at the end of the video. In order to change your behaviour, we first need to understand exactly how much we are drinking. The aim of this session is to provide you with information to assess your own drinking levels and help you to understand your own health risks, teaching alternatives to drinking and how to cut down if needed. Let's start by busting some myths that we commonly see around alcohol. Feel free to pause the video here to think about whether the points on the screen are fact or a myth, and play again where I will then talk you through each of these points. The first point on the screen we have is drinking red wine is good for us. Now, do we think that this is a fact or a myth? This one is actually a myth. Red wine sometimes receives good press in terms of its potential health benefits, such as containing antioxidants that protect against heart disease, but no research has definitely shown a cause and effect link between drinking alcohol and better heart health. And scientists tend to agree that overall the risks outweigh any benefits. Drinking even moderate quantities of red wine, just like any other type of alcoholic drink, increases our chance of developing health conditions like high blood pressure, stroke, and cancer. Our next point we have is alcohol can help us sleep. Now, again, do we think that this is a fact or a myth? This one is also a myth. Alcohol might help us fall asleep quicker. However, it robs us of our deep sleep, meaning that we are likely to feel not well rested the next day and experiencing a lot of brief awakenings that we won't remember, which could also then lead us to relying on caffeine the next day, which can cause its own vicious cycle that can play havoc with our sleep. The third point we have then is alcohol will affect us all, no matter how healthy and active we are. Again, what do we think here? Fact or myth? This one is a fact. None of us are immune from the impacts of drinking. While moderate alcohol use is not usually a problem, drinking regularly or heavily can lead us with low energy, poor sleep, headaches, and hangovers. Our fourth point on the screen then we have is alcohol harm only affects a few heavy drinkers. Again, what do we think here? This one is a myth. Alcohol harm can affect any of us, regardless of our age or our background. And finally, our last point, people who struggle with alcohol only have themselves to blame. This one is also a myth. Any one of us can experience problems with alcohol at any point in our lives, and it's no one's fault if we do find ourselves struggling. The truth is, we live in a society where alcohol is all around us, everywhere we go. It's promoted as we watch our favourite sports. It's advertised as we travel to work. It's prominently displayed in our supermarkets and strategically placed in our favourite films and TV shows. But it doesn't need to be this way. Instead, we can create an environment in which alcohol takes less of a dominant role. And for those of us who experience problems with alcohol, we are then met with empathy and kindness, not blame, allowing us to get the support that we need and deserve. I hope this was helpful to bust some common myths that we typically see around alcohol use. This slide highlights some concerning statistics around alcohol use in the UK. Please feel free to pause the video here to read them. As you can see, the number reveals a complex and often troubling picture, from alcohol-related deaths to hospital admissions. These statistics underscore the need for awareness, but also action. Feel free to pause the video again and reflect what these statistics might mean in your own relationship with alcohol. People drink for many reasons, often rooted in a complex mix of social, emotional, and personal factors. What drives these choices? Let's explore some common reasons why people drink and consider how these motivations might shape our relationship with alcohol. Our first point on the screen is to escape or to feel numb. People might drink to escape their stress. However, when the drink wears off, we are then back to reality, which could lead us to drink again. To self-medicate or to help us manage our emotional well-being. Perhaps we don't know any other way of regulating emotions, perhaps we were never taught. Genetic and/or environmental factors. Genetics can affect the brain chemistry and predispose individuals to addiction, while environmental factors like upbringing, social influences, stress, and trauma can also shape drinking habits. The interplay between these factors can influence an individual's relationship with alcohol. Next, we have social norms or pressure. If we tend to go out with friends, it's normal for them to ask why are we not drinking, rather than asking why are we drinking. And finally, habit. We might start drinking to enhance positive emotions, for example, celebrating with a glass of wine or beer. We then might find it difficult to celebrate without having that beer or glass of wine. Although alcohol can help us feel relaxed initially and give us a brief feeling of euphoria, the effects are short-lived, and the long-term negative consequences of drinking a lot over a long period of time can be quite harmful. Overuse of alcohol can contribute to the worsening of symptoms of many mental health problems. In particular, it can lead to worsening of existing conditions like depression and/or anxiety, memory concentration, alcohol-induced bipolar or psychosis, behaviour changes such as increased risk behaviours, inappropriate behaviour, unstable moods, poor judgment, and slurred speech, increased risk of suicidal thoughts or tendencies, brain health risks including transient memory loss, blackouts, and hangovers. Drinking alcohol can have serious consequences not only for our psychological health, but also for our physical health. From damaging our liver to affecting our brain functioning, the impact on our bodies can be significant, and understanding these risks can help us to continue to make choices about our drinking habits. Alcohol can increase risk of developing diseases such as liver and/or heart disease, different types of cancers, empty calories leading to weight gain, brain damage, increased risk of stroke, stomach bleeding, and other health issues. And finally, dependency. Alcohol can become physically addictive. Some people who drink eventually develop tolerance to alcohol. As a result, they eventually need to drink more to notice the same effects as they once did. Over time, the brain and other organs become reliant on the constant pressures of alcohol to feel normal. So what can dependency look like? This condition can be mild, moderate, or severe, depending on the number of symptoms you have. Key symptoms may include cravings, withdrawal, drinking more over time, having difficulty stopping after one drink, inability to stop drinking when you try, continuing to drink alcohol even when it has a negative impact on your health or daily life, spending a lot of time on activities related to alcohol use. It's important to note here that if you do feel you have a dependency on alcohol, it's important that you don't just stop drinking, or everyday language, you might hear people use the phrase going cold turkey. This is because suddenly stopping or drastically reducing alcohol consumption can lead to withdrawal symptoms, which can be uncomfortable, painful, and even life-threatening. Therefore, medical guidance and support are often necessary to help with alcohol dependency, to safely manage withdrawal and develop a plan for long-term recovery. Today's guidelines recommend that pregnant women avoid alcohol altogether to minimise potential risks to the developing baby. However, it's worth noting here the guidelines on drinking during pregnancy has changed over the years as our understanding of fetal development and the effects of alcohol has grown. If you are a mother who was drunk during pregnancy in the past when guidelines are different, this isn't about shaming or judging. It's simply about acknowledging the evolving nature of health advice and the importance of making informed choices with the knowledge that we have today. It's essential to recognise when drinking stops being our friend. Some indications could include things such as we can't stop thinking about our next drink. We might start lying, either about drinking or denying that we have drunk. Maybe the quantity of our drinking. Perhaps we're experiencing struggles or conflict with family and friends. And maybe we're struggling to get up in the morning without having a drink. By being able to recognise the signs that drinking has stopped being our friend is the first step towards making positive changes. By being honest with ourselves and acknowledging the impact of our choices, we can take control back of our relationship with alcohol. Meet Tom. Tom loves Jack Daniels and catching up with his friends at the pub. Tom's not alone in thinking that as long as he's not drinking on his own at home and he's out with his friends, that he's fine. But here's the thing. Where we drink doesn't define our relationship with alcohol. We can be surrounded by people, enjoying, having a laugh, and still be drinking in a way that's impacting our lives. It's not about the location, it's about our habits, motivations, and how alcohol fits into our lives. Let's bust the myth that social drinking in a pub automatically equals a healthy relationship. It's just not that simple. Let's talk about units of alcohol. But first, how many of us actually know what a unit is? Research suggests that many of us are unclear about what constitutes a unit of alcohol. This makes it tricky to track our consumption and make informed choices. Therefore, understanding units can help us to better understand our drinking habits and make positive changes. So let's break it down and get familiar with what a unit really means. Counting alcohol units was first introduced in the UK in 1987 as a standardised measure to help people keep track of their drinking. Units are a simple way of understanding the quantity of pure alcohol in a drink. 1 unit equals 10 millilitres or 8 grams of pure alcohol. This is roughly the amount of alcohol the average adult can process in 1 hour. This means that within an hour, there should be, in theory, little or no alcohol left in the bloodstream of an adult, although this will vary from person to person. The number of units in a drink is based on the size of the drink as well as the alcohol strength. Before diving into how to count alcohol units, let's test your knowledge. Take a look at this large glass of wine, 250 millilitres with 13% ABV. See if you can estimate how many units you think it contains. Take your time, pause the video if you need to, and we'll reveal the answer next. The answer is 3.25 units. Were you close? Next, we have a glass of Prosecco, 125 millilitres with 12% ABV. This is 1.5 units. Next, we have a double rum and coke, 50 millilitres with 40% ABV. How many units do we think is in this? This is 2 units. Next, we have a standard shot of tequila, 25 millilitres and 40% ABV. This is 1 unit. And finally, we have a bottle of Budweiser beer, 660 millilitres, 4.5% ABV. And this is 3 units. How well did you do? Were you surprised at the unit amount, or were you accurate? Calculating units of alcohol is a simple yet powerful way to track and manage your drinking. By understanding how to measure units, we can make informed choices about our consumption and take control of our relationship with alcohol. So let's break it down. You can work out how much alcohol is in your drink based on its strength and size by using the following equation. Strength, or ABV, times the volume of the drink in millilitres, share with 1,000 will equal the total number of units in your drink. So to find the number of units in a pint of 4% ABV beer that is 568 millilitres, you would calculate 4, which is the ABV percentage, times its volume, which is 568 millilitres, share this with 1,000 will equal 2.3 units. Therefore, if you're thinking of the beer that is 2.3 units, that would roughly be just over 2 hours for that one beer to leave our bloodstream. However, I would always add an extra hour just to be on the safe side. It's also worth noting here that although we might be working out our units and working out when the alcohol will leave our bloodstream, there's always a risk of us still being over the limit the next day after consuming alcohol. If calculating units feels like a hassle or you're unsure about using the equation, don't worry. There are plenty of online tools to help. Unit calculators can do the math for you, making it easy to track your consumption. Simply put in the drink's volume and ABV and you'll get the unit count in seconds. This is a quick and convenient way for you to stay on top of your unit consumption. Now that we've got a handle on calculating units, let's explore some practical tips for cutting down our drinking to keep health risks low. Notice how I use the words low level risk rather than safe level. That's because, unfortunately, there's no such thing as completely safe level of alcohol consumption. When it comes to reducing our drinking, every little bit counts, and making small changes can add up over time. By making informed choices and setting realistic goals, we can work towards a healthier relationship with alcohol. Individuals are advised not to drink more than 14 units a week on a regular basis. If you do drink 14 units or more a week, try and spread your drinking over 3 or more days. You could try having a few alcohol-free days each week. You could start keeping track of the alcohol units you consume in, choosing a smaller glass, setting a limit. You could also practice saying no. When you're faced with pressures to drink, it's perfectly fine to say no. Instead of going out for drinks, why not suggest an alternative, like watching a film or trying a new restaurant? But if friends or family continue to disregard your boundaries, it might be time to take a step back and reassess your friendship. Your choices and well-being matter, and surrounding yourself with people who respect them is crucial. You could also try drinking low-level or non-alcoholic alternatives. Pace yourself, eat before and while you're drinking. And remember, if you do drink over 14 units, don't just stop. And lastly, asking for help. Cutting down on alcohol can be tough, and it's okay to ask for help. Talking to a trusted friend or family member about your goals can be a great starting point. If you need support, please consider reaching out to your GP or other professionals that can provide more personalised guidance. There are also many online resources and support groups available, offering a safe space to share your experiences and connect with others who are on a similar journey. At the end of this video, we'll provide additional signposts and options for further support and resources if needed. When we are used to using alcohol as a way to escape or manage our stress and difficult emotions, it can be hard to imagine alternatives. However, there are other alternatives out there that we can look at. Embracing our emotions can be tough, but giving ourselves permission to feel wherever arises is a powerful act of self-acceptance. Brene Brown's insights remind us that emotions are fleeting, they come and go, and trying to suppress certain feelings can actually prolong their presence. By developing distress tolerance tools, we can learn to honour and process our emotions without becoming overwhelmed, allowing us to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease and resilience. Our emotional lives are shaped by three key systems: threat, drive, and soothe. Ideally, we need all three to be balanced and to be happy and healthy. Our threat system alerts us to danger, while our drive system motivates us to achieve and pursue rewards. However, our soothing system, which promotes feelings of calm and contentment, often requires more effort to engage. This isn't because we're flawed, but because our brains are wired to prioritise threats and rewards, making it easier for the threat and drive systems to kick in automatically. By recognising this, we can take steps to nurture our soothing system and develop a more balanced emotional life. Let's take a look at this concept called the window of tolerance. This is a term used to describe the zone in which a person is able to function most effectively. Essentially, the size of our window depends upon how much we are able to tolerate mild fluctuations in mood, energy levels, and the challenges and demands of life, whilst remaining in the optimal zone. Now, stress and threat shrink your window of tolerance. And when outside our window of tolerance, it can be very difficult for us to function well, think clearly, and respond to situations effectively. The wider our window of tolerance, the more control we will have over our own behaviour. We want to aim to widen our window of tolerance and start to notice when we are creeping outside of it. So increasing our positive emotions and self-soothing can help us stay within our window of tolerance. Some ways of doing this could include things such as hobbies, mindfulness, deep breathing exercises. Anything you enjoy doing just for the sake of enjoyment will help you to switch on these soothing systems. Next, we have the stop technique. Now, the stop technique is a mindfulness practice that helps you pause and become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations in the present moment. Here's how it works. S stands for stop. When you feel the emotions don't seem to be in control, stop. Don't react. Don't move a muscle and just freeze. Freezing for a moment helps prevent you from doing what your emotions want to do, which is to act without thinking. Stay in control. Remember, you are the boss of your emotions. Name that emotion and put a label on it. T stands for take a step back. When you are faced with a difficult situation, it may be hard to think about how to deal with it on the spot. Give yourself some time to calm down and think. Take a step back from the situation. Get unstuck from what is going on. Take a deep breath and continue breathing deeply as long as you need to and until you are in control. Do not let your emotions control what you do. It is a rare incident where we need to make a split-second decision about anything, hence why it is okay to take our time and decide how to respond. O stands for observe. So observe what is happening around you and within you. Who is involved? And what are those people doing or saying? To make effective choices, it is important not to jump to conclusions. Instead, gather the relevant facts so you can understand what is going on and what options you have available. And finally, we have P, which stands for proceed mindfully. Ask yourself, what do I want from the situation? Or what are my goals? or what choice might make the situation better or worse, or what act will allow for success. Stay calm, stay in control, and when you have some information on how and what may impact your goals, you'll be better prepared to deal with the situation effectively. Remember, your brain needs time to think all of this through. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. We hope you found the content informative and helpful. Now, before we wrap up the session, this might be a good place to pause the video and reflect on the following points. What has resonated with me most during the session? What have I noticed about my well-being during this session? And finally, what is one thing I can do to support my well-being after this session? For more information on the Wellbeing Service and links to our access form for further support can be found on our website on ctmuhb.nhs.wales/staff/employee wellbeing. We also have our employee assistance programme called VivUp. VivUp offer a free 24/7 telephone helpline and free counselling for all staff. So if you do feel like you need to speak to somebody after the session, please give them a call on 03303 800 658. For further support with alcohol-related issues, you'll find a list of external resources on the screen. These organisations specialise in providing guidance and assistance for individuals struggling with alcohol, offering tailored support and expertise. Thank you for watching the video. We hope it was helpful. Take care.